Now, for the rest of these videos, I'm going to use this one level as our test level area. But you know how to go from one level to another one. So if you wanted to add a level 2 or a level 3, things like that, you know how to do that information now, because you know you right click here and add a layout, and you would add a layout, you'd call it level 2, you'd include the event sheet, you would call it level 2 event, and you would go from there. So your next step is you can design your levels as you want. I'm going to just continue to use this one as our sort of test arena. So I'm going to add some enemies now, and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use our death block as our enemy. So I'm going to click and drag from this side, then bring our death block in, and I'm going to use these as our enemies. And the reason why, for now, is because we're keeping it blocky. So by keeping it blocky and keeping it super basic, we are not having to worry about adding more of the event sheet, because we've already said when we hit the death block, we collide, and that's the end of the game. So we're going to click play, and now if there's an enemy here, bleh, it's got us. So that enemy wasn't doing anything though, was it? Wasn't doing much of anything. It's just stood there. So we're going to make it a little bit more exciting, and we're going to give it a behavior. The behavior we're going to give, behavior, add a new behavior. We're looking for the Sine Behaviour, S-I-N-E. And they tell you what each of these do. Adjust an object's position, size, angle, or other properties with an oscillating sine wave. And what that means, I don't think preview works. Oh, yeah, preview doesn't work in the free edition, but that's fine. We're going to drag it to our test area over here. And the sine behavior, at the moment it says horizontal, so it's going to move horizontal. Sine pattern, period. You can play around with all of this, but what it's going to do is it's going to make it move back and forth at a certain speed. So now we've got an element of challenge, difficulty, whatever. And we can click and drag, actually. Click control, let's make another one. And if we click period offset, do it by, let's say 2, it'll be starting at a different time to the other one. So now they're sort of going in and out. So you've got that sort of like, oh, I've got to jump out of the way quick. Those sort of elements, okay? So using that sine behavior is a very powerful tool in your early stages of your game development, because we're using it this way to make an enemy move around, but we could use it by, let's take control, let's make another bit of this ground. What do you think will happen if I change this to, if I give this the sine behavior, what could we use it for? So what have we told the player about this platform? Oh, what I've done there is, of course, I've done it and I've given it to everything, which is not what we want. Not what we want at all. So that's my bad. Let's think about this. What's a more sensible way? So if we go behaviors, let's remove the sine behavior from this. And this is important. They say with games design, you solve one problem, you create some others. So you say you solve one problem, you create 2 more. So I think it's important that we're being aware of that. Yeah, so that will give the sine behavior to all of it. So I was trying to be smart, save time. Look where it's got me. So let's not do it that way around. Let's do it this way around. So the death block, actually, we do need to make an enemy one, because the death block will also have the sine behavior, which, all right, we can't see it. It doesn't really matter too much, but we don't want that effect. So, right, let's do some tidying up, and then I will teach you how to do this stuff properly. So let's delete that guy. Let's do this instead. So we will duplicate. We're going to clone it. And we've now got death block 2, so we're going to put that back under there. our clone, we're going to rename, and we're going to rename this enemy, and we are going to drag our enemy in, and we're going to use our enemy that we're going to give the sine behavior to, and that's a little bit more sensible. And then ground, we're going to duplicate ground, we're going to clone it, and we're going to call this one, rename, we're going to call this platform. And now this platform, let's drag it in, let's make what I made earlier, and this should actually work this time. Right, behavior, we're going to give it the sine behavior again, and this time our sine behavior, we're going to get it to go, rather than, I'll show you what's happening with it going horizontal. So it's now, we've now created sort of a moving platform, which is, you know, pretty cool. We can also do it vertically as well. So that way now we've got the sort of, you know, you need to jump on this to go up to a higher area of the game, and you can see the cameras following along and this thing. So it's up to you how you build your level. It could be, you know, here, this viewport is set up for a very sort of standard A to B moving along platform, but you could do it so you're escalating. Your game's all about sort of getting higher, reaching the top of a tower, something like that. You can also play around with these. We can get it to mess around with the width and the height. Width is quite a fun one, so then you've got those sort of disappearing, sort of length, elongating platforms as well. So that could be useful. You could build a level around that idea. You can play with forwards and backwards. Size is quite interesting. So you could have it so your things getting smaller and bigger. Play around with them, but there's loads of functionality with these to play with, mess around with, things like that. So yeah, I think that's good for the sine behavior. Loads to play around with, mess around with that. You can build really interesting things with that.